Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. As you join the live stream, please let us know where you're coming in from. Please say hello, and I'll flash your comments up on screen. Bob, how have you been?
I've been great. It's was a little cold here earlier in the week, but it's back up to normal or even above normal temperatures, which is okay. I mean, I should be out of here by now, but as we've talked about before, I have to wait till my yard work is done before I can leave for the winter. And it was, everything was so slow to turn here. The big tree in my backyard is finally starting to turn. So I figure it'll be another week to a week and a half before the leaves really start to come down.
Mm.
And then I can get the backyard all cleaned up and then get out of here. Now I'm still trying to decide because it's so late and it's going to be probably very close to the 1st of December or so before I can get out of here. I may just wait rather than going to Texas and then going to Ohio for Christmas and then going back to Texas. I might just wait here, go to Ohio for Christmas, and then on down to Texas. But I'll work all that out as we get there. For those of you that are just now coming in, if you're on my channel, don't forget to run over to Dave's channel and hit the like button. If you're on Dave's channel, drop over to my channel and hit the like button. Hopefully we can get some more people in that will help get us some more questions and things. And I see we've got some other people coming in now, so I'll shut up and let you say hello to them.
Yeah, how are you doing? As we go through today, if you've got a question or you've got anything you'd like us to discuss, please put a Q in front of it, and that'll help me find it. Additionally, as Bob has said, just to emphasize, please do smash the like button, whoever's channel you're on, and that will help us get the live stream pushed out more to other people. We get more people in, have a better discussion. Okay, Jeannie, how you doing? You just moved to a cooler place. How's the weather there? It must be very summery at the moment in Queensland. Um, oh, you've moved to New South Wales. Oh, wow. Okay. Are you still are you close to the Queensland border, or you moved down to Sydney? And Midnight Vince, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. Oh, okay. We have a question from Midnight Vince straight up. Have you guys dealt with histamine issues? Me, not to my knowledge. How about you, Bob?
No, I have not. I've seen a lot of people talking about this, though, and one of the things that can trigger it, especially if you're just eating red meat, salt, and water, if you're eating aged beef, sometimes that can trigger people that have histamine reactions. So while it might not taste as good, you might try having some non aged beef and see if that helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice. Okay, so Jeannie's just answering my question about where she's moved to. Yes, Dave Glenn is 5 hours from Brisbane. Hates Sydney. Lol. Oh, nice. Okay, and we've got Benjamin Kemp coming in from Tasmania, eating a steak while listening. Awesome.
Did you bring enough for everyone?
Yeah, where's mine? Again, this is a good time for me to do live streams because I'm wide awake when I'm doing it, but it's also a bad time because we're about to start talking about food and I haven't eaten yet. So yeah, I've got to hang out.
Yeah, I haven't eaten yet either. I'm going to make some Bob style heart attack chicken. I've got some chicken breasts that I got on sale, and I don't have big pots and pounds of lard to fry it up the way Rick does down in Miami. But I am going to just take a couple of sticks of butter and melt it in the cast iron and then throw the chicken in on top of that, and then turn it a couple of times and fry it up that way. But that's not going to happen until after the live stream.
Nice. So, is that usual for you to not eat at all during the day?
Yeah, I usually just eat once a day. I normally would have eaten by the time the live stream comes, but since the last time we talked, the time has changed.
Ah,
So it's now 4:30 here instead of 5:30.
right.
And I usually like to eat sometime between 3:30 and 4, and I didn't want to eat right before we went on, so I'm just kind of waiting for after the live stream to eat.
Right. Okay, cool. Bananas. So GFB 20,001, how you doing? Oh, Midnight Vince is asking, Bob, is beef cheaper in Texas?
I don't know. I think so. It probably is. I'm hoping to, while I'm down there this year, make some connections with ranchers for next year so that I can maybe line up a half a cow or maybe even a whole cow. It will all depend on how quickly I get things organized down there, because to buy a half cow or a whole cow, I'm going to need a big chest freezer, which is really easy to get. But that also means I have to have the electricity to run it, which is not as easy to get. So it all depends on how quickly I get a permanent solar emplacement put up on the property and that kind of stuff.
Okay, McDaniel Linda, hello, how you doing? Papa Carnivore, how you going?
Hey, Papa, glad you're here.
And Jeannie, I recently went on a 4-day cruise and you had to pay extra to have a good steak. How rude. That is rude indeed. They happily pile your plate full of carb-loaded junk, but you want a decent steak and they want to charge you extra. You want some real food and they want to charge you extra for that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't think I would go on a cruise line like that because, not that I've ever actually been on a cruise, but isn't going on a cruise part of the attraction is you can go to their dining room and eat whatever you want, however much you want, whenever you want. I sort of thought that was part of being on a cruise.
Yeah. I've been on a cruise once, and I think not because of the food, but I don't think I'd ever do it again. It's just so many people get sick. It's just like, you're locked away with all these people that suddenly start getting gastro bugs and all this kind of thing. I'm just like, oh no, I think I'll pass. It's hard enough being locked in a plane with people for 8 hours, let alone a week or something. Hey, Mr. Cast Iron, how you doing? Thanks
Arkansas.
for joining us. Okay, we have a question here from John. Bob, do you plan on playing Santa Claus this Christmas? If so, you'll have to add some more padding since you lost so much weight.
I'll buy a really big Santa suit and buy some pillows to stuff up underneath of it. Because I would not make a very good Santa Claus right now.
Yeah. Okay. Lizzie, how you doing? Cordelia, how's things? Thank you very much for joining us.
Excuse me.
Okay, and everyone's talking about how many meals they do each day. Nice. Guys, if you've got any questions or anything you'd like us to discuss, please feel free to add the questions or discussion points in the chat. Put a Q in front of it. While you're there, smash the like button. Bob, how many carbs have you added back in recently?
None. Whatever there, because zero carb is kind of a misnomer, because beef and chicken and pork do have a little bit, but certainly not enough that you need to worry about counting, because I've
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
certainly never limited my beef portions by saying, oh, well, I'm only going to have a pound and a half of beef today because 3 pounds just sounds like too many carbs. I've
Mm.
never said that, and I don't think anybody else has either. But as far as adding in carbs, it's ridiculous. I know
I
there are a lot of people doing it, but
yeah,
I don't see it.
from my perspective, people say, "Would you ever think about it or whatever?" And from my perspective, it's just like, no, because I can't control myself. So there's no way I would ever try and do it. Uh, uh, you know, if I thought, oh, I could just add some nuts in, or I could just have a piece of bread occasionally or whatever. For me, there's just no option to do that because I can't do one piece of bread. I can't do, I mean, cheese makes me go crazy. So you imagine adding carbs back in, I can't control myself at all.
Yeah, I mean, and I've talked about this many times. Back when I first started, I kept a little ice cream in the house to have a little treat here and there, but I had to stop doing that because I have zero self control when it comes to certain things. And ice cream is one of them. It doesn't matter if it's a half pint or a pint or a half gallon or a gallon or one of those big 5 gallon industrial tubs from Walmart. Whatever size ice cream I buy, it's a single serving container.
Mm, yeah. Woo. The comments going to be, G'day, Paul. How you doing?
Hello, Paul.
Hey, Jonathan.
Jonathan's here. Hello, Jonathan. I hope you're feeling okay.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh, Coastal Crocus. As a senior on a fixed budget, I can only afford to buy meat on the sale flyers or beef that has been discounted due to close to expiry date. Normally, they don't age beef enough for my taste anyway. Mm.
Yeah, and buying discount meat, because really, if it's not bright red, if it starts to turn that kind of brownish color, that's when it's really getting good, but they can no longer sell it at a grocery store. So I always, if when I go buy the discount bin, unless it's something I really don't like, I always buy everything in the discount bin, because as long as you take it home and throw it in the freezer, it doesn't matter how far it was gone before you got it home. It's not going to get worse in your freezer.
Mm.
And buying whatever they've got in the discount bin can be a really good way to save money.
Mm.
In fact, I think I'm going to go
Oh,
tomorrow.
sorry. Papa Carnivore has a question. Is it possible to reverse or reduce CKD level with Carnivore?
Absolutely.
I've got several interviews from people that have reduced their CKD level. Yeah. I've also got an interesting interview coming up with someone who was in hospital and had some treatment with some of the treatment can affect your kidneys, right? And so they put him in hospital, they gave him a treatment, and then they came to him the next day and said, "We're a little bit concerned about your kidneys. Your scores are a little bit higher than they should be." And he was like, "Well, didn't you give me that thing yesterday that would potentially push my this level up?" And they were like, "Yeah, but we're really worried about your kidneys." And it was like, "Well, yeah, but you gave me the thing that caused this problem." And then he started drinking water, flushed out his kidneys, and then didn't need anything at all. It's like the hospital is just like they'll create a problem, measure an issue with your kidneys, and then go, "We need to put you on some drug for your kidneys." It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the more $150 aspirin they can give you, the bigger your bill is.
Mm. Yeah. Um, okay. Uh, G'day, George. How you doing? Good to
So,
see
George,
you. Question from John. can seed oils cause a big weight gain overnight? I had some buffalo wings last weekend that were BOGO at the
Buy one, get
store.
one.
Buy one, get one. At the store, they had some canola and or soybean. The next day, I was up 6.6 pounds. Oh,
Yeah, uh, I would say to that what can happen with seed oils or anything else, seed oil, sugar, anything that causes inflammation. If you've been non-inflammatory for long enough and then you eat something like canola oil or soybean oil that is inflammatory, it can inflame your body. And what is inflammation? Well, holding excess water, and it doesn't really take very much. Now, if you wait a couple of days and it doesn't go away, then you might start to worry about it. But yeah, it really can cause that much, because I'm assuming that since you were out getting some wings, and it was buffalo wings, which means they were hot and spicy. I'm guessing you probably drank, even if it wasn't beer, you probably drank a lot of water, more than you usually do, because it was spicy. But that's just my guess. What are your thoughts on that, Dave?
yeah. I always think seed oils and what else are they kind of sneaking in there? It, I find it really hard to trust anything in a restaurant anymore because you just don't know what they're doing to it. I what I have noticed is, for me, if I go out somewhere and it's likely I eat something that's cooked in seed oils, it just like it makes me feel horrible the next day. I haven't noticed any weight gain, but it does make me feel horrible. Do you are you ever in the situation, Bob, where you go out somewhere where it's possible you could be eating some seed oils?
Yeah, well, I've been out to eat. I think it's 3 times or maybe four, but I don't go out to eat anymore, because every time I've gone out to eat since starting carnivore diet, it's made me sick.
Mm, right.
So it's just not worth it. And eating out is so much more expensive than cooking at home that I just don't do it.
Mm. The one of the things I've noticed in Japan is if you go out and you think, okay, I'm going to ask them if they can cook this in butter rather than seed oils. What'll happen is you say, have you got butter? And they'll say yes. And can you cook this in butter? Yeah, no problem. And then you find out it's margarine because they just think anything yellow is butter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But yeah, I see people talking about buying a lot of chicken and pork, because chicken is really low right now. And don't forget, folks, Thanksgiving is coming up here in another week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever it is. Turkey is going to be on sale. And there's no there's nothing wrong with turkey. As Rick and I talked about on a live stream I did last week, turkey is a lower fat meat, but if you take it and deep fry it, whether you have the big pot to deep fry the whole turkey, or you make it like heart attack chicken, you
Heart
make heart
attack
attack
turkey.
you make heart attack turkey. You just take slices of it and you deep fry it, and that will soak up more grease. And I've seen a lot of places around town that have whole turkeys on sale for 39, 49, 59 cents a pound. Don't be afraid to stock up on turkey over the next couple of weeks, folks, because while I definitely feel better on beef, my wallet feels much better eating whatever happens to be on sale.
Mm. So what do you prefer, turkey or chicken?
I prefer turkey, but it's usually such a pain in the butt, because you have to, basically, to get it cheap, you have to buy the whole turkey. And
Mm.
then you got to stick it in the oven and cook it for 6, 8, 10 hours, and then cut chunks of it off. And even doing it the way Rick suggests, even half cooking it at like 3 or 4 hours till you can cut slices off of it and deep fry it, that's still an awful lot of pain in the butt for a
Right.
meal. And then
Right.
you got to have a place to store all of the leftover meat too.
Mm. Yeah, I've never cooked a turkey, but I remember like when Mum would make it for Christmas or something. Um, I like the taste better than chicken.
Yeah,
It's yeah.
I do too. But chicken's always cheap, whereas this is
Mm,
the time of year you can get turkey for a lot cheaper. So I
yeah.
highly recommend people rush right out and buy however many turkeys you have space for in your freezer.
Mm. Whenever I talk about turkey, though, I always remember the Mr. Bean episode where he ends up with a turkey on his head and he's walking. um, yeah. Um, So, guys, I can't see any other questions there. If you've got any other questions or anything you'd like us to discuss, please chuck a Q in front of it so I can find it easily. Thank you for joining us. Please do smash the like button if you haven't already, and that'll help get more people into the chat. So here's a question from Midnight Vince. Dave, will you come to the USA soon? I plan to, yes. Should be there in May to go to Meat Stock in Gatlinburg in Tennessee. I've got my what is it called? ETSA visa already. So I'm good to go. But yeah, apart from that, not sure. I was hoping to get to Hack Your Health this year, but financially it didn't kind of work out in time. I decided to that I wanted to go a little bit too late. So yeah, should be at Meat Stock next year.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I don't know. Is in Tennessee, is that one Dr. Barry puts on, or?
That's Scott Everson who's organizing that. You know,
Oh, okay.
Scott. Yeah. So I'm going to be. I think it's 25% of the emceeing there. So there's 4 of us emceeing, and yeah. So it'll be Jenny, Melissa B, Selena, and myself. Yeah, so it should be cool. But a massive speaker list there, like Dr. Berry, Dr. Chafee, Kelly Means, yeah. Um, yeah. Oh, we got a
Yeah.
point here from Papa Carnivore. Bob, yes, same happens to me. When I eat out at restaurants, I often get sick afterwards if I'm not very, even if I'm very careful. Yeah.
Yeah. It just sometimes it's worse than others. I just didn't feel right for a couple of days the first time I went out. And then we had that Christmas thing a couple of years ago when I was down in North Carolina where we went to go see the Christmas lights. And if you go back on my channel, you'll find the video where I took a lot of pictures and video of the Christmas lights. That was very good. That was fun. I did not realize they were stopping to eat on the way home, and I thought I'd picked something good because they sold just their meat in a bowl. So I just bought myself a pint of their meat and sat there and ate it while everybody else pigged out on sandwiches and fries and everything else. But either it was bad or something in the meat didn't agree with me because I was so sick for 3 or 4 days after that.
Mm.
It was terrible.
Mm. And yeah, and just to add on to that, plus restaurants are so expensive. It's $50 per person or more. I can buy a ton of meat and eggs with $50 to $100. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just it. You go out to eat, and even if you're going to a fast food place, you're going to spend what, 25 to $30 now on a fast food meal.
Yeah, I've heard like McDonald's has got really expensive.
Yeah, And you go to McDonald's instead of the dollar menu, because that was one of the things I used to do when I was fat and ugly. I'm still ugly. I'm just not fat anymore. But you go to McDonald's. One of my favorite things to get back before I went carnivore was on their dollar menu. You could get a sausage biscuit, which is just a big hunk of sausage on a biscuit. But at a dollar, you could get four of those. And for $4, you'd have four biscuits and four pieces of sausage, and that'd keep you full for a good portion of the day.
Mm.
And now, I forget what I saw somebody was saying, oh, yeah, I went and got a sausage biscuit at McDonald's, and it was like $4.99. And it's like, well, gosh, instead of spending $20 on four of those biscuit sandwiches, I can go to the grocery store and find a decent steak.
Mm.
Or for $20, even at the current prices of roughly $5 a pound for ground beef, I could get 4 pounds of ground beef, and that'd do me for a couple of days at least.
Mm. Yeah. So we've got a question here from Deborah Lane. My friend has just had gastric bypass surgery. She was as keto before, but gained her weight back. I'm afraid that this surgery will fail her. What do you advise me to tell her?
Well,
go ahead, Bob.
Well, with gastric bypass surgery, your stomach is not as big as it was, but you can still do it. Just keep eating meat and fat. And, because you've had that bypass surgery, you're probably going to be stuck eating at least 3 meals a day, if not more. But you will still see health improvements with that. I mean, because there isn't, you always hear people talking about, oh, well, you can't eat that many calories. And we're not going to get into the whole discussion about how calories is a physics term. The example I like to use, if you're afraid of eating too much, just remember Rick, Charger Mopar. He eats 3 meals a day of roughly 2 pounds of meat every day. I mean, he's stuffing 6 pounds of meat into his gob every single day. And he is by no means what you would call a heavy set person. In fact, he still looks like he's a little bit underweight. So don't be afraid of having to eat 2 or 3 or even 4 meals a day. But just make sure that your friend with the gastric bypass surgery eats until they can't hold anymore, and then waits until they're hungry to eat again. And hopefully they will see the improvements that they want to see.
Yeah, I would also direct her to people like Limitless Lindy, who had gastric bypass, and she's been able to successfully do carnivore, and some of her videos explain how she's done that. So
that's excellent, Dave. Thanks.
Okay. Yes, free. Hi guys, thank you for sharing. Really appreciate your time. I'm in Ontario, Canada. I agree with cooking at home is a safer choice. I'd rather have nothing than risk it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not worth it anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Bucky Badger. Question, part 1. This one's for you, Dave. How do you find the time to do sometimes 3 interviews a day and sometimes with YouTube live streams? I'm in the very lucky position of living in Japan. And what that means is that my early morning is afternoon, evening in North America, and my late at night is kind of morning time in Europe and the UK. And so I can kind of easily kind of fit the interviews in around my regular schedule. And on top of that, when I'm editing, I do that on my iPhone, so I can do that anywhere, whether I'm sitting on the train or whatever, So that's how it's just I've kind of over the years I've been able to kind of optimize my time. Hmm. Okay, we had another question here. There we go from Drew. I've been following for a long time, and I love the work you do, Bob. You mentioned you had chronic kidney disease and reversed it. Do you have any EGFR numbers you can pass along or current status?
No, I haven't had any of those kind of tests in a couple of years now because the last time I went to the doctor and had those tests done, everything was normal and I feel good. I see no reason to waste my time or money on going to get those tests because if we stop and think about what do those tests tell us? Not a whole lot, because when they go to establish normal ranges, they just take everybody's results and plot them on a bell curve and draw a line down the middle and say that's the center of normal. Now, am I telling you not to go get your kidneys checked? No, of course not. If you're having problems with that, you should go get them checked. Not necessarily for what the current number is, but have it done now, and then 6 months from now, you can see if what you're doing is making your numbers trend in the correct direction. But I wouldn't really put a lot of stock in the hard line numbers that they tell you these certain tests should be in. I can tell you that I feel better than I've felt in 30 or 40 years, and I haven't had any problems with anything. So, I saw all of my numbers going in the right direction. I saw all of my numbers get into the so-called normal range. And then I got into an argument with my doctor about some stupid stuff. Gee, I wonder if you can guess what thing we were talking about. Cholesterol. And I haven't been back to a regular doctor. Now, I do still go to my cardiologist once a year, but I haven't been to a primary care physician in probably 3 years now.
Right. On the cholesterol thing, the more I talk to people, the more faith I lose in the medical establishment. Just that when they are seeing patients that all of their metabolic markers improve, that they can't take a nuanced perspective on cholesterol going up or the fact triglycerides have now dropped and all that kind of thing. They just see LDL high, okay, alarm bells ringing. It just seems it's almost childish.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that we got into an argument about. My inflammation markers were better. My chronic kidney disease was gone according to the markers. My fatty liver disease was gone. My arthritis was 95% better at the time. I hadn't had a single gout attack. My type 2 diabetes was down to, from 10.3. My A1C had dropped all the way to 4.8. And all he wanted to talk about was, well, your cholesterol's a little high. Really?
I know you think you're feeling better, but look at your LDL. Yeah.
And the more things become out, not that there's any real science behind any of this, because you can't lock a human in a lab. But if you look at all of the N=1 experiments happening across the carnivore space, you have, Mitch had a stroke, but it's obviously was caused by a previous injury, had nothing to do with his carnivore diet. And the couple of other people out there that have had strokes or heart attacks, because they'd been carnivore for 6 months. It's like, those diseases take decades to develop.
Mm.
Being carnivore for 6 months is not going to do that. And me personally, and I'm sure Dave has had many people that he's interviewed talking about this. If cholesterol was a real problem, then explain to me why every year when I go back to my cardiologist, all of my cardiology numbers get better every year. My ejection fraction, my CAC score, everything gets better.
Yeah. And like ultimately the thing with LDL is the Ansel Keys thing. I mean, it's still a hypothesis. No one's actually proved anything. But it's taken as gospel. But to your point about the heart disease and stroke and things like that, those problems developing over years, all the experts will talk about how, yes, it develops over years, but as soon as someone goes on a carnivore diet for 3 months, they're like, oh, that was the cause. That's the cause of your atherosclerosis, even though you've only been on 3 months, 6 months or whatever. So it's like they're happy to talk out both sides of their mouths. It's just whatever suits them at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very similar to the popular disease from 2020 and 2021. A guy dies in a plane crash and they're sifting through the wreckage doing blood tests. Oh, this guy over here died of that thing that we're not allowed to say on YouTube.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Question from Benjamin. Dave, have you had the opportunity to interview Bill Knott? Actually, I haven't, and that's a good point. I need to get in contact with Bill and see if he'd be willing to come on. It's a very good point. I'll do that today. Okay. Frank Grissett visited my cardiologist after my wife died. He asked me how it had been. I said it had been hell for my children. And he looked me square in the eye and said, your cholesterol went up 130 points.
Yeah. The correct answer to that when he says that is so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the big thing that we have that is so hard to talk to people about because we've heard for decades cholesterol this and cholesterol that and statins here and statins there and all of the other things. There is no proof anywhere that cholesterol is causal in any known disease process. Cholesterol is so important to the human body that our body makes up to 85% of it. It doesn't make any sense if you stop and think about it, but they're so ingrained in the lipid hypothesis. And of course, the reason they're ingrained in the lipid hypothesis is because if they still support the lipid hypothesis, they can sell you drugs.
Right.
They can sell you lots and lots of drugs. They don't make any money when you go down to the grocery store and buy yourself a steak.
Exactly. Yeah, but we're all sponsored by the meat lobby. I'm sure you're cashing those big checks just like me, Bob.
Oh, yeah, it was fantastic. I got my payout from YouTube last time around, and I think it was $32.84, but I won't swear to that.
Right. Yeah, the meat lobby's going crazy. It's just
the meat lobby's just knocking down my door to give me lots of money to tell people. Sorry, I just can't keep going with a straight face.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous that I've actually seen people post that's what they think's going on, and if it is going on, they've missed me out. They've never contacted me to give me any money.
Mhm.
I'm not happy about that.
And I would be interested to see how many of the people that were pushing the sugar diet, what was that fad about 2 months ago?
Mm.
How many people that suddenly started pushing the sugar diet got a little check under the table from somebody to start talking about carbs? And I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but there are a few people out there that are talking about adding back in some carbs. And it would be very interesting to have a forensic accountant tell us if there's any extra motivation behind that.
Mm. Yeah. No one's coming at me with a forensic accountant. You'll discover all that big beef money under the table,
Yeah.
um, so Frank is asking, Bob, how long after your bypass did you go carnivore, and where you wanted to not eat saturated fat? Because I worry when doctors say high LDL eventually clogs coronary arteries if you have a high calcium score.
Okay. I had my bypass surgery. It will be 8 years in January. I went carnivore 3.5 years ago, almost to the day. It's been 3.5 years plus 3 days now. Um, and I was slowly going downhill again after my surgery. When I got out of the hospital from having a triple bypass surgery, my ejection fraction was just above heart failure range. And today it's in the middle of the normal range. High LDL does not clog arteries. LDL has nothing to do with any of it.
Mm.
Cholesterol has nothing to do with it. There are so many things that go into heart disease, and I have a very high CAC score. But what I can tell you is that after a year, my CAC score went down a little bit. Now, when I say a little bit, we're talking about single digit points. But if you consider once you have a CAC score, it tends to get worse by 10% a year until you eventually need bypass surgery again. And then again last year, my CAC score had gone down again. Again, not very much, but it didn't go up that 10% either. So it is slowly correcting my calcified plaques by eating a carnivore diet.
Mm. I think one of the best things I've learned in the last 3 years to ask a doctor or a cardiologist who's saying your LDL is going to clog your arteries is just to ask them, why won't the LDL clog my veins then?
Mm-hmm.
And they either won't be able to answer, or they're going to give you some ridiculous excuse. And if cholesterol is the problem, why is it only a problem in certain places when it's throughout your bloodstream?
Yeah,
That's
it's the same
kind of
blood
that
everywhere in your
comeback.
body.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if it was some other kind of system like that, like let's say it's the plumbing in your house and there's something in the plumbing that's going to affect the plumbing in a negative way, it would affect all of it, not just in certain areas, So I think that's the simplest comeback where they won't actually be able to answer you. Okay. Hello, was just enjoying the Chaos and Bart K's channel. Oh, I'll have to check out that Chaos in a
Oh,
moment.
yeah. And that could be why it's a little slower in the chat today. I didn't know that Professor K was live today.
I didn't realize either. Oh, I'll have to go and check out that Chaos. G'day,
Yeah.
Mandy. How you doing? Yeah, and Papa Carnivore saying, Frank, humans have been super carnivores for 1.2 million years. If eating lots of fatty meat and eggs was bad for humans, we would be extinct. I think that's another good point. Like, we've been eating this way for so long. If it was bad for us, why are we still here?
Mm-hmm.
And why is it only now, when we've got this oversupply of grains in our diet and ultra processed foods in our diet, that we're starting to do so badly? It's all very strange timing.
It is. And while, because there is no actual experimental science, and I can't say, yes, this is the cause, but if you look at when seed oils became popular in the American diet, there is a very strong correlation that makes you look at and go, between the rise of heart disease in this country and the introduction of industrial seed oils.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, something you might want to look into.
Yeah. It's scary what seed oils make their way into, that you think, what business has this got in this particular thing? Like in ice cream and all sorts of stuff. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
why does this need soybean oil?
Yeah, one of the worst offenders. And because, we're coming up on Thanksgiving here, I will tell you Cool Whip. That
What's
fake
Cool
dairy.
Whip?
Cool Whip is a fake whipped cream that's been
Oh,
popular here for a really long time, as opposed because it's cheaper than actually buying a quart of heavy whipping cream and sticking it in your mixing bowl and running, whipping it into real
so
whipping cream.
is this
Or
like
even,
the kind of can where you just spray
well,
like,
now the spray cans are actual cream.
right?
Ready Whip is real cream, but Cool Whip comes in a tub and it tastes almost exactly the same, but it's made with it's like margarine. Margarine, they have the brand that's even called I can't believe it's not butter because it tastes just like butter, but it's about one molecule away from plastic.
Mm.
And that's the same thing with Cool Whip and other fake whipped creams. It's a combination of seed oils and chemicals.
Mm. And Feral Grandma is also saying seed oils are also in infant formula.
Yeah.
That's pretty scary as well. Like, when you've
Mm-hmm.
got a situation where you've got a newborn and for whatever reason they can't breastfeed, right? And like from birth, you're giving them a concoction of chemicals and seed oils that, like,
Mm-hmm.
you're setting them up for, like, from
Well,
the word go, as with a hard life.
and it's things like that that have caused the fact that we are now seeing atherosclerotic plaques in kids younger than 20.
Mm.
And we're seeing kids in their teens with fatty liver disease.
Mm.
How does that happen? Well, because in today's society, a kid that is raised on a standard American or standard Western diet, whatever you want to call it, by the time he's 10 years old, he's consumed 3 times more sugar than our grandparents did in their entire life.
Yeah. It's pretty scary that when a kid is in the later years of elementary school, or sometimes in the earlier years of elementary school, they're developing the diseases that only alcoholics got 50 years ago.
Yeah,
It's really scary.
it is.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
why, I probably shouldn't bring this point up, but I'm going to anyway, because there's a certain director of health and human services that some people hate and some people love here in the United States,
Mm,
RFK Jr.
mm,
And people are like, oh, well, he's not a scientist. What's he talking about? Well, if you look at the past 40 years, all of those so-called scientists that were running that department, how did they do? You
Mm,
know, what's our health done here in the last 40 or 50 years?
mm,
Maybe perhaps somebody who just thinks like an old retired truck driver
mm,
is somebody you need to take a look at things.
mm,
Just my thought.
mm. Jeannie's got a question, a rhetorical question. Who needs scientific evidence when it's obvious what is happening? I agree. Like all these experts are happy to base all of their recommendations on epidemiology, but
Mm-hmm.
then when you actually see the graphs and people are getting at a higher rate, they're getting sicker, and they're like, oh, no, 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 that's not happening. Eat more margarine, eat more seed oils.
Mm-hmm.
It's heart protective.
Yeah, and
The
if
epidemiology tells us that.
yeah, and if statins were so good for us, then why haven't we seen not necessarily a reduction in heart disease since it's now $1 trillion industry, but shouldn't it at least level out a little bit?
Mm,
But even after introducing all of these statins into all of these people, the heart disease rates keep going up.
yeah. This is like when you think about the American Diabetes Association. It's like, you go on the website and like you can't see anything on their site for the constant boxes that keep popping up saying, please donate, please donate, please donate. And it's like, who are these people donating? Who are these people that are going, these guys have been around for decades. They're bound to find the solution to diabetes at some point. Let's donate some more money to help them along the way. It's like they're never going to find a solution because they're going to put themselves out of a job if they find a solution. Yeah, sorry, that's my rant.
No, I mean it's like a first day medical school lecture. Always remember a patient cured is a customer lost.
Mm, yeah. So yeah, they've got no incentive to actually help people. And
No.
that's why when you go on their website, their their recipes are not how to cook something low carb. It's how to make cookies and chocolate chip cookies with no added sugar. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. And then, they have these so called heart healthy recipes and diabetes recipes and all this stuff. But then you look at them and you think, oh, well, that sounds really good. I could eat some of that. But then their portion size is about the size of the lens cover for my camera that I'm currently using. And it's like, really? That's how much food you think is? I don't care if it tastes like whatever. This much food is not going to satisfy the old fat guy.
Yeah, and the reality is, the more you eat carbohydrate-laden stuff, the more you want to eat. So,
Mm-hmm.
a serving is to most people is just part of the overall eating experience. It's like
Yeah.
I'll have 25 servings, thank you, before I'm even remotely full.
Yeah. Well, even going to just a candy bar snack, if you look at a package of Reese's cups,
Mm.
servings per container is 2, which means 1 cup is a serving. I want to know, is there anybody in the chat right now that has ever opened a Reese cup and only eaten one of them and saved the other one for a snack later? I know I sure as heck haven't.
Yeah. I can never imagine a point in my life where I would have where I open something, take one, and put it away. Like that just doesn't that's not me. Yeah. Uh G'day Rick, how you doing? Good to see you.
Hey, Rick, we were just talking about you. Were your ears burning?
But he's also saying I have never eaten more than one Reese's.
Yeah, but you've never even eaten Reese's, have you, Rick?
There's no such thing as a heart attack, Reese's. Yeah. Um, okay. We've got time for a couple more questions if anyone's got some questions for us.
Yeah, or just
Yeah.
jump right in there with a comment. Tell me how ugly my beard is. That's okay.
um,
And Lambs is here.
Lambs, how you doing? My siblings asked me why I am so pretentious, knowing more than doctors that have been schooled for 6 years. Yeah. Uh, it's not
Because
pretentious, it's just reality, right?
it is. I mean, because doctors are not taught medicine anymore. Now, if you can find old doctors our age or more, they might have actually learned medicine. But even the doctor that I fired a couple of years ago, he was, in his late 40s, early 50s. He was from the modern school of medicines where they don't teach them to think critically. They basically have a flow chart that says if they have these symptoms, this is the drug you give them. If they have these symptoms, this is the drug you give them. And that's how they got through medical school, by memorizing which drugs go with which symptoms.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
somebody like Lambs, who has been looking at this, I know for at least 2 years he's been making comments on my channel. He's not a stupid person, and he's certainly not pretentious. He probably does know more than 90% of the doctors that are out there.
Mm-hmm. The interesting thing is that, like, when you ask a doctor what they do, they say, I practice medicine. And the first thing is, well, don't be practicing on me, please. I only want the things that you actually know. And secondly, it's not like they're saying I'm practicing getting people healthy. It's like I'm practicing medicine. So in other words, I'm prescribing medicines. That's my job.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite scary. And Rick says, you know what I do with cookies? Yep. It's all duck food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He feeds the ducks.
Yeah.
And Papa Carnivore says, Lambs, you are pretentious.
And so am I. Yeah. Carnivore Farm Mum says, give me all the races, never only eaten one. Yeah. No slow. In my 20s, I once binged on over 30 Reese's peanut butter cups, one after the other. They were my favorite. Yeah. It's impossible just to eat one of something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's part of why I didn't give out Halloween candy this year, because I have years here at the house where I'll get swarms of kids and give out all my candy. And then there's other years where, I'm lucky if 5 or 6 kids show up, and then I'm left with, a whole box full of Reese's cups or Hershey's bars or whatever. I'm too cheap to throw them away. We all know what's going to happen to them. So I just don't buy them. I'm sorry, kids, but I just don't.
We've got another question here. So this is the last question before we wrap up for today. John Collins, do you agree that a mantra, listen to your body, needs to have an alarm with it? For example, eat when you're hungry, but I'm never really hungry, which leads people to undereating that stalls our progress. Yeah, I think listen to your body, but also you have to kind of be paying attention to, well, I haven't eaten for 24 hours and it wasn't an intentional fast, so maybe I should be eating a little bit more often, I guess. I don't personally, I don't think I've fallen into that, but I have heard people that have trouble making sure they're eating enough. What are your thoughts, Bob?
Well, the whole eat when you're hungry thing, I agree with. And if you don't know what real hunger feels like, start fasting. It might take till day 3 or day 4 or day 6, but eventually you will learn what feeling hungry truly feels like. And once you've experienced that, most people will get truly hungry roughly every 24 hours. Some people faster, some people slower. But once you know what really hungry feels like, then I believe that is a very good guideline to go by.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you for that, John. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Bit of a slower day today, but we didn't realize Bart was live as well. So we will be back with you in a couple of weeks. Yeah, thank you all for your time. Bob?
Yeah, I say this almost every time, but I mean it. This is one of my favorite hours in a week because we get to just sit here and talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. And that's really what this is all about. But I will say one thing. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow,